peace and good character.
So let's start this off right. I want y'all to think hard about this question that I'm about to ask. For those who have been initiated and for those who are considering initiation, first let me explain what initiation is for those who don't know, right? There's different types of initiations, but the one I'm talking about in particular is the one to Ifa. There's the initiations to Orishas, but I'm talking about initiation to Ifa. So what is an initiation? Initiation is a ceremony that lasts over a couple of days. Some initiations are 3 days. Some people have 7-day initiations. But it's a process that people go through to take on the protection of a particular deity. Now, let me ask the first question. What do you all think is the underlying purpose of initiating? What would be your underlying? I should ask that as a better question. What would be your underlying purpose of getting initiated? And if you are initiated already, what was your purpose of doing that? What did you go through that thing for? Or what do you want to go through it for?
I can answer. I did it for health reasons and to align with my purpose completely.
So you feel like you was partially aligned with your purpose before?
No, I'm not going to say that either, because I was, according to my Odu and my readings that I received, I was already doing the work, although there were still some other things that I needed to incorporate.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already, doing a lot of the work, but there were some things that I wasn't quite aligned with. And one of them was patience. So that's something that I got from my Odu.
Okay. If I told you and said to know my destiny and align with it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? All right. So with that being said, is there anything you need to do or you wish you would have done in preparation to getting initiated? Think about it, y'all. Let me stop making that smirk because y'all think I'm trying to trick y'all into something. But, but is there anything you should do or need to do in preparation of initiation?
You definitely want to do your research, ask questions for sure.
That's good. Yeah. Anthony, what's up?
I'm going to take a stab at it. You want to clear your Ori. You want to try and have, you want to try and clear your Ori and have good thoughts, good Ori.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay. That is definitely a thing. And we're going to talk more about that as we go along. But in preparation of initiation, I know that Ori work before, and we'll talk more about that too. What it is Ori work. Ori work before initiation. Why that's not being mentioned to people is beyond me. Why that's not a thing that Babalaos tell y'all before they tell you you should be initiated? Because usually when they say you're going to get initiated, it's going to come out of a dafa.
Yeah.
It's going to come out of a reading. They're going to be like, yeah, and this Ifa says that you would be a very good Babalao or Ianifa. You should be initiated. It's going to come out something like that. But they don't tell you the part of the Ori work necessary in preparation. I'm going to talk about why that's important in a second. But y'all know me, I'm inquisitive, so I'm going to keep going with my questions for now. So what do y'all think And for those who have initiated, I'll flip the question for you too. But what do y'all think initiation even looks like? What are your expectations of it? And for those who have already had it, what were your expectations of it?
My expectation was to grow more spiritually within my gifts, and for things to get better health wise for myself. So those were my expectations.
Hmm. Was it some pretty were they life threatening health situations or just some things you need to take care of?
I would say so.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? What does initiation look like to you? Or do you have any expectations at all? Or you just want to go through you just want to get a bald head for free?
I think I think for me, my expectations beforehand, I expected to excuse me, have like a blueprint to know exactly what to do for my life, and just kind of like you know, just for life to be easy, like when you know what your destiny is, when you know what you're supposed to do, when you know what your purpose is, then you kind of have this natural guidance just to kind of like show you where all your blessings are. But it's not that easy. Like, you still have to work for it. You still have to put in the introspection and make the changes within yourself. It just doesn't magically happen just with initiation. And I think sometimes that's how it's kind of sold to us, that you get initiated and all of a sudden everything's going to automatically just flip a switch and be better.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to go through that transformation and align yourself with that energy that you're being initiated to. And it's still connect with your destiny. You still have to understand how you have to make the changes to connect with your destiny.
Ashe. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Which brings me to my last question. What does Ifa say about your duties after initiation? What's your duty after initiation? What does Ifa say about that? Anthony.
Well, I've learned that it says that you're gonna have to reinitiate yourself. You have to reinvent yourself. You're gonna have to study your old do and find out what your taboos are. Find out what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to live.
Mm. Exactly. Anthony is taking the cheat sheet from the 3 years that he's been around, but yes, that is the ding ding answer. Gold star for Anthony. All right, so yes, Ifa says that after you get initiated, your job is to go initiate yourself. Now, Anthony gave a description of what that could look like, but I want to hear what that looks like to y'all. What does that really mean to you? Go initiate yourself.
You're going through a rebirth. So shedding, continuing the shedding of, the things that don't serve you. And, you're going through like I said, a rebirth on many levels. So I think that's what that means. Reinventing yourself, going through and allowing the rebirth to take place, the transformation.
Yeah, that's a lot easier said than done in so
Yeah,
many cases.
you're right.
Anybody else want to take a hug at it?
I would say it sounds like a lot of Ori work is going to come up for you to have to address.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Let's talk about that. I'm glad you said that, Ia. Or rework. What is that? So Ori work is, here's this, watch this. You have the messages of Ifa over here, right? Messages of Ifa over here, you over here, your Ori over here. Ifa gives you a message that's coming to your or leading to your Ori. Just imagine a little laser going this way towards your Ori, right? That laser in between your Ori and the messages is the Ori work. Now, once it reaches your Ori, your job is to send something back to Ifa. And what you're sending back to Ifa is your ability to actually do what Ifa is asking you to do, or what's being revealed to you. And that's going to depend on the condition of your Ori at the time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We're not doing this thing. Your destiny doesn't belong to you. Let's be clear. We're not doing this to please ourselves, hopefully. The stuff that we're supposed to do is supposed to be pleasing to the creator that sent you to this planet. That's what Omoluabi is about. That's what having good, gentle character, Iwapele, is supposed to be about. Like, you're trying to do something that pleases the God that sends you here. You're just the vessel here doing the work. Does that make sense? I'm not scaring some people right now.
No, it makes sense.
The Ori work is the work that you do after you get the messages and you process it and then you actually go do it. However that looks dictates the condition of the person's mind. Now, with that being said, there's a filtration system that I have that I've been teaching for the last 4 weeks now. And the acronym for this filtration system is OROAC. I'm going to break that down real quick. That's Ori, the rituals that we do. That's Orisa. That's the ancestors that we feed. And that's the choices that we make at the end of the day. So the Ori portion is what's on your mind. Whatever you're being told on the mat, especially at initiation, whatever you're being told on the mat, whatever's on your mind is how you're going to process that information. Whatever you've been taught by this Babalao who sent you to initiation or who was initiating you, depends on what's on your mind, how you're going to be able to process that, especially once you leave his facilities after an initiation. Now, after the ritual part, after that is the rituals. The rituals are the things that we have been programming our mind to do, which are the words that we speak, the company we keep, the circle of influences that we have, and our circle that we go to, particularly in this spiritual realm. Because technically, let's be real, y'all, Ifa is a very, very, how can I say it the nice way? Interesting place to be in, the community of Ifa people. They can be very different. So you got to still choose the people that you're learning with in Ifa. You got to be careful with that. And then the last ritual that we're going to talk about is the Ebo. Now, the third part of this leg is the Orishas, which everybody tends to love the Orisha. Some people, like I said, there's 2 different initiations. There's one to Ifa and then there's one to Orisha. People love the Orisha. I won't get into that right now because that's not what I'm here for. But people who know me know what I mean by that. The fourth one is the ancestors. People love their ancestors. And that's rightfully so, right? We're supposed to love our ancestors. That's why we're here. But this filtration system that I'm telling you about, you need to figure out who they are. What did they do while they were here? And why did you come through them? Then the fifth filtration system of this whole thing is your choices. Now, if I said, go initiate yourself. During this whole process, you're going to experience every last part of what I just said. The Ori part, the ritual parts, the Ebos, the Orishas, the ancestors, and then your choices afterwards. Because your choices, again, are the reflections of the Ori work that you have done on yourself already or need to do. Does that make sense? So what do we mean
Yes.
by initiating your crazy?
Mm.
Let's talk about that part. What do I mean by initiating your crazy? Well, I said this to a brother yesterday at the Malcolm X festival. He gave me this sideways dog look like, what? I was like, yeah, man, you can initiate your crazy. People do it every day, right? So let me ask y'all a quick question. If whoever feel like they can answer this question, who grew up in a toxic environment here besides me? Anybody
I
here grew up in a toxic environment?
yes.
Anybody else? Grew up. If you grew up in a toxic environment, put a 1 in the chat room for me real quick. Who here has had a toxic relationship at a period in time? Put a 2 in the chat room. Who here struggles with patience in their life? Put a 3 in the chat room. Last one. Who here struggles with, let's say, anger? I'll say anger. Put a 4 in the chat room. All right. Thank y'all for y'all participation. So now, let's take these 4 different areas of life. And for whatever it is, if you didn't answer, everybody got something. Nobody here is scot-free of this concept. Everybody got something that they are struggling with or dealing with. Now, what does that look like? Only you know that. But let's take those 4 things. And you said you struggle with it, right? So now imagine you're getting ready to walk into initiation tomorrow. What do you think is going to happen after you initiate it and you dealing with all 4 of those issues?
You're gonna be tested with all those.
You're dealing with a toxic environment that you grew up with, which breeds impatience and anger, sometimes abandonment issues, trust issues, all kind of stuff comes out of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now you sat on the mat and got a dafa and a reading done, and the Baba Lao told you you should be initiated, Iya. You would be a great Iya Nifa. And you like, really? Wow, that sounds awesome. Black power, black power. And you go get initiated, right? Because it's so African. It's the African thing to do. I'm Afrocentric. Let me stop messing with y'all. So you go get initiated. And you take all of that crazy on the mat with you. What's about to happen? Who can tell me what's about to happen? Think about
Chaos.
it.
It's all about to be revealed to you.
Now, I'm glad both of y'all said that. Are you prepared to deal with that?
I would say no, but I would say no. If your Ori's not ready for it, you're going to blow it up, even with a good console around you.
you're gonna blow up with the council around you. You're gonna blow up on the council around you. I've seen people do that, blow up, and I almost did it once, but I've seen people actually do it, blow up and cuss the Babalaos out,
Mm.
threaten to fight them and want to beat them up. This cat just got shot out here in Atlanta like a year ago. Babalao, broad daylight. Y'all following where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So we need a remedy to this. How do we fix this? What do we do about this? I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you're in your Ori, you deal with, I'm gonna call it a software, because these things that anger and all that stuff and impatience, all these things are softwares, right? So we take on softwares throughout our lives that makes us impatient or makes us angry at times. So say your software is abandonment. If you grew up in the hood or you grew up in a rough area, abandonment is usually a part of your situation. You feel alone for whatever reason. Now, that's what's in your Ori. This is just an example. I'm not saying this is y'all, but I'm just giving you an example of how this looks, taking you through that system. So let's say your ritual. What's a ritual of a person that feels abandoned? Um, their reaction to the word no is horrible. They can't take the word no because they feel abandoned. They don't like hearing no. So they're going to find a way to force the yes. And
Mm.
when you force the yes, you probably are forcing it into something that doesn't belong to you or you're not supposed to do. Your actions toward people that exit your life. When people want to leave your life, you become stalker.
Mm.
You break windows and scratch cars. If you're a man, you get violent and abusive. Another ritual, the words you say to people that show you that they want to stay in your life, that they actually love you. I'm going to flip it around a little bit. When you are abandoned and somebody's actually showing you love, your tongue cuts them.
Mm.
You push them away with your actions and words because you're not used to someone being there for you. This is the rituals that we create in our mind. This is all before and probably going to be some after initiation. Now let's talk about the Orisha part. Which Orisha would be a good Orisha to step in and assist with this? Now, an Orisha cannot step in with your crazy. They're not going to step in and aid you in your crazy. Now, remember the Odu I told y'all about, Ogun Demeji, right? Where Orumila was asking everybody about who's going to follow man into the world. And Ifa says, well, what if the man loses his way in life? Will you still be there if you're offered your favorite food? He said, no, I'm going to go get my own food. Then I get back at him later on. So if you lose your way and you on your crazy, he going to go eat or she going to go eat. They're not going to be with you the whole time. Now, when you get yourself together and you start working on it, they see you starting to work on it, then they can come back and help you out. But if you ain't working on it, you pushing everybody away, cutting everybody with your tongue because you feel abandoned, how can they be involved in that? That's aiding your crazy. But the ones that we can talk about that would be good in those areas would be Oshun, Orumila, Shango, and especially Eshu. Because Eshu is going to do what? Show you you. He's going to keep presenting situations to show you you. The question is, can you look at yourself in the mirror butt naked and be happy with what you see? Can you look at yourself in your mind butt naked and be happy with who you are? Yeah, that part. So now, next, ancestors. Everybody loves their ancestors, right?
Should.
Y'all be polluting these lakes and streams every day, feeding them ancestors, right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm sick of going to the lake and seeing flowers floating and shit. Anyway, so so ancestors. Now these are ancestors who are in your bloodline. Do you know any ancestor? This person, this is an example again, don't forget. But this person would have to identify any ancestors in their bloodline who struggle with abandonment. Now, first and foremost, that would require you to know something about that ancestor. How would you know what your great great grandmother struggled with? Unless you really have that tight knit of a family that discusses the people who came before y'all. You have a grandmother that you can go holler at and talk to, or a grandfather that's still alive that can let you know these things. But a lot of us, I've never had a grandmother in my life, so I don't know what that's like
Wow.
whatsoever. I have no clue what that's like.
Mhm.
So imagine that. You have to know who these people are, number one. Now, then you would need to know who didn't have those issues, who was a person who trusts and loves hard. And you got to have a model. This is what we have Orishas for. They're models of what we want to be. Your ancestors are the same thing. But if we don't know our ancestors and we just feed them because this is what we're told to do, you're kind of going against the grain of initiating yourself. Because once you figure that part out with your ancestors, you will begin to understand why they were chosen for you to come into this life through. Now, let's get back to you. The last thing is choices. Once you go through all that process that I just said, once you take all that information in, you take in the experience of the initiation, you take in the aftermath of it, you take in on your whole new name and all of that stuff that you go through, your elecades, and you go through your process and you take in the information that's being distributed to you at that initiation, at your Odun, at that, not your Odun, your Ita. Once you take that in, you got to leave and process that through those filtration systems. Because yes, there's going to be some orishas in your Odu, not on your head, but in your Odu. There's going to be some information about ancestry work you're going to have to do. There's going to be some Ori work, definitely, you're going to have to do, which speaks to the taboos. I'm not talking about the food taboos too much. I'm talking about the character trait taboos.
Mhm.
Once we get through all that process, now we get down to the power of the Ori, so to speak, and that's going to dictate your choices. So we got to look at this. What does our past choices look like when it comes to changing the conditions? In particular, in this case, it would be abandonment, right? But if you said anger or anything I said before, what does your past choices look like when it comes to these conditions? Does our current choices reflect our past choices? Are we still doing the same thing? All the while leaving pineapples by the lake. I gotta mess with y'all. Y'all know that, right? Anyway, um, will our Ori allow the rituals to make way for Orishas to summon the essences that we need in any given situation? And will our Ori approve their assistance? Let me read that one again. Will our Ori allow positive rituals This means we're creating new rituals, because that's what initiation does. Your job is to create new rituals. That's what reinitiating yourself looks like. So if you're dealing with, I'm gonna go back to the chat room real quick and see what y'all said again. So we said the anger. We got a couple of people. Anger. I was making up stuff as we went, so I forgot what I even said. But the anger and all that stuff we talked about. If you're dealing with those things, or if you're dealing with all of them, will your Ori allow for new rituals to be created to change that? What would stop your Ori from allowing that? What do y'all think would stop your Ori from allowing the new rituals?
One, being too comfortable in the chaos.
Definitely.
And I would say also fear, because the unknown, what the other side looks like, since you have not been in a healthy position before. That can be frightening.
Definitely. 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 Here's the thing. The things that cause the anger and everything else that you're dealing with in today's world, it's a lot of talk about trauma now. But those things were created through trauma. So if those of you who took the Bloom class, y'all understand what trauma looks like, and when the neurons are creating what the brain is telling your body to do, right? So if you are traumatized, your brain is creating neurons and sending signals out every fraction of a second for your response levels to do something, even if it's just to speak. Whatever has created your anger, your abandonment issues, your trust issues, whatever your issues are, whatever has created it, like I said previously, that trauma is going to try to stand in between it and be like, no, this is what we've been doing about this our whole life. We got to keep this up. You got to fight your way through that process to change those neurons and create new ones so that you can do something different. So that's why I asked, will your Ori allow positive rituals to come back in? That will then allow the Orisha to come and aid you. That will then allow your initiation in Odu to actually help you fulfill a destiny. If you don't make the proper shifts, initiation is going to look very interesting to you, especially after. The reason why I do a rework, y'all, is because y'all, a lot of y'all know my story. I'm not going to tell the story again, but if you want to know more about my story, you never heard it or seen it, go to the website. It's all over the website. After initiation, if you don't do that, it's definitely going to get interesting for your life. And I'm hoping that people here take heed to what I'm saying, but those who are listening are thinking they want to go get initiated. If you know someone who's going to go get initiated, please let them know what this is, because these people are going to take your money and never tell you this. And if you want your life to really be on the path of this great destiny that you want to fulfill, you have to purge and defrag your Ori. It's a whole lot better to do it before you go than it is to do it after. Because if you do it after you go, now you have this contract on you that you gotta do. And if you don't do it, Eshu has no problem showing up. You the one who sat on the mat and made this promise. And guess what? That promise doesn't burn off. I ain't trying to scare y'all. I'm just telling you the truth, okay? Like, it doesn't burn off. See, if you get a DAFA done, it burns off in 17, 30 days. Okay? You move on with life. That's why when some people be in Elays, their Babalawos will have them to do elbows or DAFAs every 30 days, every month, right? It's way too much work. But when you get initiated, that contract does not burn off. That is your life Odu. So you must be prepared to do what's necessary. And if not, Eshu has no problem. Out of the Orishas, I think Eshu is the only one that has no problem being there with you the whole time. I think he's the only one that has no problem with coming up and be like, hey, remember this, bro? Or maybe ask this, bro? Or you want to go over here? Or you want that person? Okay, here's what this looks like. You still want him? He has no problem doing that. But you did make the contract. See, initiation means that your hard drive is about to be reconnected to its creator. Just think of it as a computer. If you had a Mac computer, who created the Mac? I think it was Steve Jobs, right? If you had a PC, Bill Gates, even though he stole it. But at the same time, your hardware is about to reconnect to its creator when you get initiated. It needs to defrag and it needs to get the bugs out. But the Ori is so powerful that it can stop the bugs from leaving because you're attached to what we call the trauma of it all. Now, that's not always bad news. Check this out. It can be good stuff that you're addicted to. There are people that are actually too nice. That if I would tell them, you got to stop doing that so much. And they can't let go of being so nice to people because people run over them over and over again, right? And if I would tell them, you got to stop being so nice to people. Well, I don't know how to do it. And the soft voice and all that. I don't know how to do that. I just been this. It's not just trauma. It's not just always bad stuff. It's sometimes just certain things you just got to stop doing so much. You do it too much. Drink too much water, you're going to drown. Even though it's good for you, I mean, you can overdose on it. So, are you prepared to release that software you've been running on prior to initiation? Are y'all actually ready to release it now? She said, woo woo.
See, that's why being on camera is so good. Get good reactions.
That's what I'm talking about. I get to have convo with people. Let me ask you a real question. Have you released your crazy? Be honest, y'all. Have you released your crazy? No? Yeah? Yeah, no? No, yeah?
Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Well, greetings, everyone. My earpiece is a little low. So I did the opposite of E5 first. I did Oshun initiation first. And I wish I would have spent more time. It was wonderful. But I wish I would have spent more time dedicated to my Ori and getting this information first. Because as we're speaking to this is very timely of what I'm going through. I mean, we all have our things. I know my things, though, and I am diligently working on them before EFA initiation. So I'm in the process, and I'm grateful for that and for modalities and just coming together like this as a family to discuss these real things because they're not being discussed like that. Ori is our first our first rhyme. It's what we come here with and what we leave with. So thank you for this because I know I'm right where I need to be. So yes, I'm releasing the crazies, the stuff, the monkey mind. We have so much thoughts that we go through. No, and then there's a lot of life. There's a lot of conditioning. There's a lot of programming. Even to the word, I'm gonna drop this and then I'm gonna go. The word girl, like in our tribe right now with Black women, it's like girl, 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 all of this. And when you really think about it, we are women, goddess, sister, queen, whatever the word, but we're definitely not girls anymore. And so there's such a conditioning, and whatever the conditioning is when I speak to my sister friends, and I'm like, that word is really cringy. They kind of get it, but not all the way. But that's because it's a conditioning. So whatever you feel like makes you feel unsettled, that's the stuff that we have to work. So I'll leave it there. And I just want to say thank you. Yeah.
I say. You are well. Let's say this then. If you haven't released your crazy, you might want to rethink getting initiated. If you have already been initiated, then you have no choice but to release your crazy. Because I'm telling you, SU is not going nowhere, and that contract ain't going nowhere. But on the other side of you releasing your crazy, guess what? That's where your destiny will reveal itself and blossom and bloom, and the sun will come out shining. Trust me, I'm living it right now. I'm living it right now. I'll use me as an example, just real quick. Y'all have heard me speak about my anger, and my Odu is all about anger and patience. And I've had to sit down. I was one of those people who kind of couldn't be told what to do. Even with my Babalaos that initiated me, we went back and forth, and I was like, bro, you're not my daddy. Knock it off. Like, that was my mentality. But I didn't understand how I was playing a part in what I didn't get from them for a long time. So me coming through all of that, if I had to sit me down and make me see something and send me through some serious situations in the last year, I've had to move 3 times in the last year. And each time I move, I didn't stay by myself. I had to stay with somebody. And I think that Ifa wanted me to see something in each of those people that I needed to know, like, if you don't change, this is how you're going to end up. And in those moments, I went through things that I would have never taken in my entire life before that. But I had to hold my tongue a lot. I had to not be able to speak the way I would normally speak. I would have to leave and go for hours of walks just to free my mind and let it out. But I couldn't say it then because I knew I would risk not having a place to stay, right? I've never been in that predicament until then. But Ifa has a way of putting you in predicaments, and Eshu has a way of showing you in the process of this is what that looked like, bro. So now you got this contract, you went through this process, your name is Baba Makanjuala, you the Ori coach. What you gonna do about it now? And I had to deal with it. And I had to make different choices. And now I got a great Odu yesterday on my Odu Nifa. Things are starting to shift. It's starting to turn back around. So I get it. My crazy was in the way. If you've been initiated, you got an Odu, you got probably some great blessings on your life. If you don't have an Odu, you still got some great blessings on your life. You're just not totally, probably completely clear of what they are. But I guarantee you the reason why, if it hasn't happened for you in any direction, whatever it may be, it's because you're crazy is in the way. There's no way you can come from any of the things that we've named or anything that you're dealing with, particularly. And again, like I said, that goes on the good side and the Yewo side. You can be over patient. They call that being allowing yourself to be abused. You can be overly honest and doing too much for people. You can do all kind of. You can be over benevolent. You can be again a fraction of angry, and it's going to be too much for somebody. So you got to identify what it is for you, and then find a way to release your crazy. Now, what do you all think? I'm gonna leave y'all with this. What do you think that looks like? How do you release the crazy? What do you got to do to release it?
I think first you have to accept it's there and then face it.
Yes.
Stop being denial about it or defensive.
Yes. Yes. I want to hear from somebody else. Tony Simmons, what do you think is, how do you release that crazy?
I'm still kind of struggling with the concept, but as far as like, are you saying like crazy meaning your issues, unresolved issues?
Definitely that.
Okay. Yeah, I think kind of like the sister said, you have to, because like I think, because I'm kind of new to the tradition and everything, but if I'm following what you're saying, from my understanding, what you're saying is like, you're going to get, I guess the Odu is going to point to some things that you need to work on. And I just know just from experience of growing and just being personal growth, people tend to, when you point it out, they tend to like at times, oh no, I don't do that, or well, it's not quite. So it's just being, to me, you got to be completely open, just completely open to receive what the counseling is or whatever the messages that are being revealed to you. And it's really hard sometimes, very, very difficult to, when you don't see it or you don't want to think, like taking it personal, you know what I mean? Like it's personal to you. Like, well, like you said, the example, somebody's walking all over you. Well, well, they needed it. Like, it's just like justifying it and all that. So it's just really challenging to work through that stuff. Sure.
It is. It is. I got a sister like that. She's a Leo, right? And that girl would see the light in the darkest room. I don't care what it is. Like she sees the light in the darkest room. I'm like, Danielle, no, you cannot do that. But she will continually do it and get stumped on every time and then wonder why she keep getting stumped on. We are polar opposite people. But at the same time, that's a part of what she needs to deal with to get it. She's very smart, very talented. She's just not that assured of herself. But it's a lot of people like that on different ends of the spectrum. You can be way too overly confident and people will associate it with arrogance. But you can be way too nice and you can be a person that people can just push over and run over. Like there's differences everywhere, but everybody has their particular thing they're dealing with. It's really only crazy when you actually are, you know what they say, what's the definition of crazy? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome, right? That's insanity, basically, right? We take it a step above crazy. So if we're doing the same thing over and over and over again and it's not changing, here you come to Ifa looking to get this great destiny. What do you think is going to happen? Ifa has to find a way to take that from you. I'm not even going to say take it from you like it's a jack move in the drive-thru or something, but I'm just saying it has to be removed out of your life. It can't stay a part of you and then give you the destiny, because guess what? If it was a part of your destiny, you would have already been successful at whatever it is you're trying to do. This is a very deep concept. I'm hoping that this is hitting home for y'all. I hope that y'all really think about the choice. Okay, that was a scary picture. What was that right there? Hold on. Good Lord. I mean, okay, let me stop. But I'm hoping that this hits home with y'all, that y'all get what I'm saying. Initiation is a great thing. It's a very good thing. Very, very good thing. But I just want to see it start shifting to where it actually, I don't want to say easier, but it's more functional as to the reason why we're doing it, how it goes down, and particularly the post part of getting initiated, it becomes a little bit more functional so people can come in and get what they actually came to get, and that is their destiny, and then know how to move forward with it. Or rework is mandatory. Your mind work is mandatory. You're dealing with whatever it is you're dealing with. If you're too nice or too arrogant, deal with it. If you're angry, or if you're too truthful or too honest, if you're too prideful, whatever it is, if you're too envious, if you're too flashy, you're too much about money, whatever it is, you got to deal with it. Because it's just going to show up 10 times fold after you get off that mat and go home. Thank y'all for coming in. Again, if you want to donate to anything that you heard today, the Cash App link is in the description. If you are in Atlanta, next weekend on the 27th, Saturday 27th at 11 a.m. I'm going to be doing a live presentation in Atlanta. No, actually Decatur, outside of Atlanta, but still same thing. If you know somebody down here, let them know. Baba going to go live. Go holler at him and check him out. In the words of Black Sheep, the choice is yours. I will see y'all next week. Have a great week coming up. Hope to see you again, Zakia. Shizzle. Good to see you, James. Not see you, James.
Thanks, Baba. Have a great one.
You too.
Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Be at peace and good character.